Hello everyone and welcome to a new video of Firepower Threat Defense series. So in this video we are going to talk about more identity sources which we can add on to FTD. So let's jump onto the FDM. Here I am on the FDM of my FTD. In order to add identity sources, you have to go to objects, select identity sources from the left hand side menu. This is the SAML server we added in the last video. Now let's add the radius server today. Okay, in order to add a radius server, you click on this drop down, which is nearby this plus sign, select the radius server, give your radius server a name. I can say radius, give the server name or IP address of the radius server. In my case, it is this. My radius server works on port 1812 of authentication. Okay, and then timeout is set to 10 by default. I'm going to leave it as default. Now put the server secret key that you want to configure on the radius server end as well when you are going to add this FTD there. So let's put the key and let's hit OK. Mhm. So that's how you add a radius server as an identity source in Cisco FTD via FDM. Now let's add a radius server group. Okay. A group contains multiple radius servers. Okay. So let's create a radius server group. Give the group a name, radius, let's say GRP. Dead time is set to 10. Maximum failed attempt is set to 10. If you click on I, you get explanation of it. Failed servers are reactivated only after all servers have failed. If there are 10 servers on the list, then until or unless all 10 of them failed, the one which failed, like suppose number one failed, it won't be reactivated until or unless all 10 in the line fails. The dead time is how long to wait from 0 to 1440 minutes after the last server fails, okay, before reactivating all the servers. So when the 10th server is failed, the FTD will wait for 10 minutes to reactivate all of them. Maximum failed attempts to a server can be 3. Okay. Then we can also set a realm that supports the radius server. Realms are basically related to Active Directory stuff. We have not added an Active Directory yet as a identity source. So I will just select the radius server in here. We added this radius and hit OK. That's how you can add a radius server group. Now let's add a Active Directory realm, AD realm. Let's name it as AD. What is the username FTD will use to connect with the Active Directory? So let's give it a username. It would be administrator at the rate shivam.local. What will be the password of associated with this user? What is the base DN where the FTD will search? Okay, so that will be OU equal to users, comma DC equal to Shivam, comma DC equal to local. So these values will be different for you, but the example for each is given just below the respective fields you can see here. Okay, what's the primary domain? Primary domain is shivam.local. Okay, this was the information about the Active Directory connections, base DN and primary domain. Now we need to provide the server information. I'll put the IP address of my Active Directory server. Which interface it is reachable from? It's reachable from management interface. I'm not using the secure LDAP. Basically, I'm not using the start TLS and LDAP S. So I'm going to use the plain text LDAP. Port number is 389 for that. I'll just hit OK. You can add another Active Directory configuration just by click on add another configuration. We added one server. If you want to add another server, just click on add another configuration. What that will do in the same AD realm, it will add another AD server. Now let's create a Active Directory realm sequence. Okay, this is the sequence of realms. So let's give it a name underscore SEQ. Now add realms. So I have only one realm. I added one realm. If there will be more, I can select more and they all will be part of. So this will be like a group of radius servers which we created in the past. Okay, but realms, Active Directory realms. So that's how you add a Active Directory realm sequence. These things are then can be used for the VPN users authentication also as well as the administrator's authentication on the FTD. If you go on here on the device, click on management setting. Under the AAA configuration, you remember from last video we selected Okta, but you can also select radius group. You see here. There is one more option that is available, which is radius group. Now, under the SSH, also you can select the radius group. Okay. Uh, Local identity sources means when you want to use the local admin account on the FTD. Now, these settings are these we will talk about them later. Let's jump onto the objects back on. Let's talk about the certificate section as well. So, on this FTD, I want you to remember one thing. You cannot generate CSR using the GUI. You cannot generate a certificate signing request using the FTD GUI. If you want to do that, you want to use the CLI of it. Okay. Now, what kind of certificates I can add in here? I can add a certificate group by clicking here, but I can add individual certificates by here. So you see, first option is add internal CA. So add internal CA is suppose you have configured the SSL inspection. So for SSL inspection, you need a certificate that you will use to reassign the server certificate. So FTD can do MITM on the SSL connection and facilitate the SSL inspection on the FTD. There are two ways. If you already have a private key and a certificate for the internal CA, you can give these values here. Okay, like certificate key here and the certificate here, and then put the name. Validation uses for special services, you can set these values. If you want to use this certificate for validation uses of for special services. So first option is SSL server. If you go to I, you can read what's the use of this setting. Validate the certificates on the remote SSL server used for dynamic DNS. This is for the when you have IPsec certificate based authentication, you can use this certification to validate the certificate of the other party. SSL client similarly, but for I think for the remote access VPN connection, and then other non-snot features. You can read about that. Validate features such as LDAP as that are not managed by snot inspection engine. Okay. Now I'm gonna not use this way because I don't have a certificate and key to import. I'm gonna generate a self-signed internal CA. In order to generate a self-signed internal CA, let's give it a name. I can say SSL inspect. Oh, sorry, in spelling is wrong. And then back. Key type, I would say it's a RSA key, 2048-bit. By date is fine. No special uses. Let's put everywhere the same thing. Issuer, give it a common name. Get a common name here. If you want, you can fill in all those values as well. Uh, let's do it. Let's fill in them. India, organization, unit. Same things I'm gonna use in here as well. No, sorry, it's not Guru. It's Guru. Locality, India is the country. The code is IN. And a distinguished name that will be created later on with all these values. Okay. Let's hit save. Now, if I search for that certificate SSL inspect, see, type is internal CA. The certificate has been created. You can see, but it's a self-signed certificate. See, now I can use it in the SSL policies later on, but I want to also show you how to add an internal certificate. This certificate will be really when you have a server in your DMZ, okay, and it is running SSL and clients are connecting over the internet to that server in the DMZ through your firewall, and you would like to inspect that connection. You would like to look inside that specific SSL connection. That's when you will use that internal certificate feature. You could upload certificate and key. That's what you will be doing in the most of the scenarios. But you can also generate a self-signed one here as well. Okay, just select self-signed and provide the values. It's similar as I did for the internal CA. So we are not gonna see that. What we are gonna see is add trusted CA certificate. So I have a trusted CA certificate. Okay, and suppose my CA is local, then I can check this box, skip CA certificate check, and if my CA is public, then I can keep this box unchecked and then upload my CA. Let me add a new CA. I have a new CA which is known as Get a Cert, which is not currently part of FTD's, I would say, FTD's certificate store. And I add the certificate, I'll say Get a Cert, I uploaded it. I'm going to skip the check just because I want it not to happen. I can choose the value for validation uses for special services if I want. I'll just hit OK. Now, this should add this certificate too. It's taking its sweet time. And there you go. Now let me search for the get a cert. See, it is now trusted CA certificate. And if I go to the policies and there is my SSL decryption and enable a decrypt known kiya, no. Decrypt and reassign certificate. If I go here, you see, that's the CA we created. Do you see that? That's where I'll be using it later on in my rules. Okay, trusted CA certificate. I can select more certificates if I want here. I can create a trusted CA certificate group and then select the group here if I want to define what CAs are trusted. Okay, and how to create a group? Let's quickly see that. Go to certificates, create here, add certificate group, say custom CA GRP, add the trusted CAs. I'm gonna add my get a cert CA in it, which I imported. Okay, and okay, that's it. That's how you can create a certificate group. It was easy, I know, but these certificates are, very important in other settings where you will be using them like SSL inspect. And as you saw, we cannot create a CSR from the FTD GUI. So that needs to be well understood in advance. You might want to use OpenSSL on any other Linux machine or maybe on a Windows machine, or you can use FTD's CLI in this case. So that's it for this video. And I'll see you in the next video. In next video, I aim to talk about the policies section. So thank you and have a good day.